Hello, fellow classers. This is KairosTime today, and we have a very special treat right here. We've got Trigo from Nova. He's a top 50 player global, and I've got a great opportunity to meet with him today and ask him some questions. We'll go ahead and get started. Hey, so Trigo, where did you get the name Trigo from?
Well, Supercell, they actually gave me that name because I guess my last one they didn't really like too much.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I won't share what it was.
That's fair. Gotta keep it appropriate for YouTube, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Hey, so then my next question is, how does it feel to be top 50 in the world?
I guess it's pretty good, but I never like feel satisfied. I always want to do better. So I think I can always do better and hopefully do as best as I can.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what helped you basically decide to try and get into that competitive ring of Clash Royale where you're trying to push up to the very top of the ladder?
I just like rivalries and stuff. Like I put like in the top 200. Usually play the same people. You can play them a couple times a day.
Yeah.
So I just like playing like other people and like it's just fun pushing up, beating other players.
Absolutely. So is there somebody that you consider your ultimate rival?
Yeah, there's this one kid. His name is like Hazard. I don't really like him that much.
A lot of BMing, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, to my understanding, BMing is even more of a problem in the top 200 than anywhere else. Is that how much of the actual game do you consider to be a mind game versus actual skill?
I think it's probably about half and half. Like if you can get your opponent mad and make a bad play, and you can win the game off of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So then my next question is, do you ever tilt?
Oh yeah, pretty much like every other day probably. I mean, everybody does, but I don't know. I guess I do it more.
Yeah. So then my question is, what do you do to control your emotions when you do find yourself into one of those tilts?
If I ever stop, like, I'll just probably stop playing the ladder and go play some challenges or something.
Mm, absolutely.
Or just stop playing in general.
Just like take a break, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I've done it before. I understand that. So
Yeah, for sure.
when it comes down to playing in the ladder versus playing in the challenge, do you feel like there's much of a big difference? Because I mean, in tournaments or in challenges, you're going to be facing people with level 7 cards or maxed out tournament standard cards, and in the ladder, you're facing against people that have maxed out cards. Is there a very big difference when it comes to how people are playing?
Yeah, I think people in ladder, I think they play like more competitive, more serious. Like they really need like the trophies and stuff. When in challenges, they can afford like a 1 or 2 or like, up to 2 losses.
Mm-hmm.
But in ladder, they really don't want to lose at all.
Okay, so my next few questions are actually about Nova in general. Nova kind of seems to have this very prestigious and kind of mysterious idea behind, or kind of a feel to it. People don't know a whole lot about Nova. There's also the negative conception that they win trade a lot. I guess my first question is, how did you actually end up becoming a part of Nova?
That's a pretty good question. I was in a clan called the Royals, which was Nova family at the time. They were like top 15 in the United States. So yeah, we were just Nova family, and then just being in the family and stuff, it just kind of grew into it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So were there like tryouts to actually end up joining the Nova eSports clan?
Yeah, I did play on one of the Nova like accounts, and he just checked me out, see if I was like good. And then just mainly it was like recommendation and stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you mentioned really fast there that they let you play on one of the Nova accounts. So how does that end up actually influencing things? So they have like a Nova accounts, and then if you're good enough, they let you play on those Nova accounts. Is that how it works out, or?
Well, the one I would play on for my trial, I think it was just a personal account that the guy had me play, and he went back and watched the replays and just see if I was good enough to play on a real max account.
Gotcha. Okay, and I guess you made the cut, right?
Yeah.
So are there ever any times when you, let's say somebody isn't doing as well on the ladder as Nova would like, and so they actually end up taking somebody off of an account and moving somebody else in, or?
I haven't heard of anyone being kicked off, but I'm pretty sure they have or will do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they have new people like hopping on and off the accounts every day, pretty much.
Gotcha. Okay. So then my next question is about win trading. Obviously, there's a lot of people that were really frustrated with Nova trading wins and things like that, and then Nova came out with a big statement saying, hey, we're not really win trading, we're just kind of, if you're in the same Nova family, we just kind of let things, go to a draw or things like that. But then there's still some people that think that Nova is still win trading. So the real question that I have is does Nova actually win trade?
No, we stopped that a couple months ago now, I think. But we do tie trade, pretty much where we just tie each other and the game doesn't really happen. That's just pretty much what happened, we even out. But yeah, nobody in the family has been win trading for a while now.
Gotcha. Hey, well, that's good to know. I know that Nova's done a lot to try and kind of clear their name, especially by letting people watch their accounts through Facebook and things like that. Has that influenced your own gameplay, having people live spectating you all the time?
Yeah, people will message me after the game or something like, "Oh, you lost" or whatever. Like, "How'd you lose?" Or they'll be like, the confetti and stuff. It's nice.
Yeah. I know how it feels. I've had lots of losses, people watching me, so I getcha.
Especially I'll play some of these top guys, and I played Pompeo before on ladder. There's 100 people watching live. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Well, so then my next question is, you're in the Nova eSports clan, correct?
Correct.
So you're doing things like competitive Clash Royale, where you're not just climbing the ladder but doing other tournaments. Is that correct?
Yeah, right now I'm actually one of the captains for the World Clash League team for my U.S. Virgin Islands.
We're
doing really well. We got some of the top players in the game on that. As far as other competitions, I don't actually play with Nova. I play with a team called the Influence. But yeah, pretty much I've played competitive for a while now. So Nova, they do have their own team, which is very good as well. And they're on pretty much all the competitions as well as the ones that they host. Gotcha.
Very cool. So then what do you do to prepare for tournaments and things like that when it comes to the competitive scene of Clash Royale?
Sometimes me and the other teammates will make a clan and we just, practice. We just do some friendly battles against each other, or we'll play in tournaments and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Very cool. So so my next question is, what do you do to decide which deck you're going to play in your next battle on the ladder? Because I know that there's a whole lot of scoping out people's decks and trying to see what kind of competition people are doing. What do you do when you decide to pick your deck?
For ladder, ever since I got into Max account, I've been playing the Lava Hound and the Balloon deck, and I've been running that nonstop, so that's the only deck I use on ladder.
Gotcha. Okay, so for those of you guys that are watching, that deck is the deck that I first played in this match. I was using the deck, I copied it off of him, and then he crushed me with it. So you guys can go replay and see that. So are there other people in Nova that do people mostly just stick to one type of deck, or do they bounce around between different decks?
I think in the beginning of the season, maybe the first week and a half, people are maybe trying out decks, but definitely in the last few days, they play with their main deck and whatever they're comfortable with.
Gotcha. So what do you think determines what's the biggest determining factor between what kind of deck that you become comfortable with then?
Whatever deck, if you notice a deck that's winning a lot, it might not be your deck, but it's just you might having good matchups. You have to make sure you know what deck is what you're comfortable with. You just got to keep practicing with the same one over and over, and you'll be pretty good with it.
Okay, very good. So then my question is, what kind of advice do you have for people that are interested in getting into the competitive scene of Clash Royale?
I would say make sure you have a Twitter, because almost every team has one. That's the easiest way probably to get into it. You can contact teams easily, and a lot of people host tournaments and leagues are all up on there, so that's probably how you'd want to join.
Cool. Very awesome. So another question I've got for you is, do you think that being top 200 requires more knowledge of the game or the current meta?
I'd probably say the current meta, because you don't really need to know that much about the game to be able to fit into a certain meta.
Okay. There you go. There you guys have it. Okay, so then a lot of people I know feel like there's not really a big end game to Clash Royale. Do you feel like being in the top 200 and pushing, even up through the top 50, is a good enough end game for Clash Royale, or what do you think about that?
For pushing and stuff, I mean, I think eventually they'll have to change something because people will get bored. But it is pretty fun to push on ladder. The competition is really fun. But yeah, I'm sure they'll have something planned for Endgame. I think they will make like something, a big update soon.
Yeah, definitely. I think that'd be fantastic. So, what reasons do you have for continuing to play after having that maxed account?
Just to continue to push my ranking and just so like it just makes me feel better, I guess, as a person, like to know that I accomplished something. So I just want to keep pushing and get better.
Gotcha. Very good. So here's the question that everybody's wondering, of course. How much money have you personally spent on Clash Royale?
Maybe like 200 or 300.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I guess.
A lot of it was on tournaments though as well. I hosted a couple tournaments that were pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you don't get to the top without paying some money, right?
Yeah.
Or playing for several years, which nobody has done. I guess you could play some challenges and get really good at that, but that's another thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got another question for you. What is your favorite win condition despite the current meta?
Let's see. I don't really know what you mean.
Yeah, so like the meta right now, we've got a lot of elite barbarians and things like that.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah.
just ignoring all of what's popular right now, what is your personal favorite win condition?
I mean, I always like to play like Trifecta, the Hog, Valkyrie, Musketeer deck.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Yep.
So that's
back in
died
the
out.
day.
I wish that deck was still around. It's very good deck to use. I'm still always trying to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try putting it out there, messing around with other decks. You think that maybe with the elite barbarians, you could try something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Very cool. Have you ever created a deck that has become the new meta?
No, I always just copy it. I'm not good at making decks.
Yeah. Hey, that's okay. You don't have to be the best at making decks. Just be playing them, right?
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Well, let's see here then. How often do you ever change just like a single card in your deck to try and fit the current meta?
A single card. Usually, I don't really change. I just change a whole new deck. If I'm not like working with it, I'll just change the whole thing.
Oh, okay. So you prefer to just completely change out or switch it out from the start? Okay, awesome. Hey, well, Trigo, thank you so much for jumping on here and spending this time with me. I really appreciated you making the time to come here. I think that everybody else is very excited to learn a little bit more about what it's like to be in the top 50 and also to be a part of Nova. If anybody on YouTube is watching and you have questions, feel free to make it post that in the comment section below, and you can even find Trigo on Twitter as well so that you can ask him personally.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to Trigo and then also the Nova team as well. Do you have anything else you'd like to say before I let you get going for today?
Hashtag Nova Strong.
There we go.
Yep.
Nova Strong. Cool. Thank you so much. Clashers, this is Trigo and KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in the arena.
Thank you.